an alumni who's in remission. But we also have people who are alumni and some of our mentors, etc., who have friends and family members who are in treatment now. And so we're going to hear from one of those folks. Eddie is one of our marathon mentors. She helped get Trish and Molly to that finish line at the Tinkerbell half. And so yeah, please come on up, Eddie. And what was your first event that you did? San Diego last year.
Last year.
So she is, if you've got questions about San Diego.
You guys will have so much fun. You will have so much fun. So this is my husband Randall, and he's really not shy, but this kind of thing is kind of hard for him. So he asked me to speak on his behalf. He's the kind of guy that doesn't go to doctors, okay? There's a reason why you don't go to doctors. First thing they do is tell you you have high blood pressure. Next thing they do is tell you you have cancer. So in December of 2008, we were actually visiting our daughter in the hospital, and the CNA slammed his finger in the door, and we ended up in the ER. So while we're in the ER, the doc says, your blood pressure's kind of high. Higher than I would expect it to be for somebody who's had their finger slammed in the door. You need to go have that checked out. So in February, he gets hooked up with the doctor and goes in. First thing he does is says, hey, you have high blood pressure and high cholesterol and a few other things. So we start the meds. And he calls back a couple days later and said, I need another blood sample. And so we give him another blood sample, and when he gets that, he calls us and says, you have an appointment in my office at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. You don't ever want a phone call like that. Those are hard phone calls to have. So we go in, and he tells us that Randall has CLL, chronic lymphocytic leukemia. And so, okay, so what do? So we set up an appointment with his oncologist, and she was great. And she says, you know, this is a really slow-growing cancer, and we're likely going to sit and watch you for 10 to 15 years before we need treatment. So you go out, make your bucket list, and go out and live life. So that's kind of what we did. And at the time, my sister was getting ready to run San Diego with Team in Training. She's like, these people are so cool. You have to come and hang out with us. I'm like, we're fine, we're good. You know, I was in happy denial, which is a great place to live. So she goes and does her event with Team in Training. And last year, she called me again, and she said, I'm going to do an event with Team in Training. You have to come and join me. I'm like, okay, that's a good cause. It'll make me feel good. I've been wanting to get in shape. Okay, I'll go do that. So last January, started training for San Diego. I cannot tell you guys how much fun you're going to have. It was the coolest event ever. And met all these great people and found out about the great resources and Leukemia and Lymphoma Society and all of that. And we're going along doing life pretty good, actually. So I went and did San Diego last year. Best day I've had in a long time. And come back from San Diego on this runner's high. You know, you guys will get there. If you haven't had that yet, you'll get there. And come back just ecstatic. Life is good. I'm feeling good. Everything's great. And about during this time frame, we've had to switch oncologists unexpectedly, and our new oncologist wanted to run some more tests. A week after I get back from San Diego, we get those results back. And his CLL is not what we thought it was. He has what's called a 17p deletion, which means he's missing part of his 17th chromosome, which means that traditional chemo is completely ineffective and does nothing for him. Average life expectancy for somebody with a 17p deletion is 32 months from diagnosis. What are we at now?
37.
We just hit month 37. So, I'm a nurse, and research is what I do. So I started researching, well, traditional chemo is not going to work. We've got to find something. We need to find something. And if you were paying attention to the news last summer, this all happened in June last year. In July, there was a huge story that broke out of University of Pennsylvania. They're doing some cancer research, funded, by the way, with LLS money. So thank you. They have done a very small study with 3 patients, and they're starting to say the C word, and by C word I mean cure. They're not talking remission, they're not talking treatment, they're starting to say the C word, which we're pretty excited about. We went last fall back to Philadelphia and met with one of the investigators of that, and we currently don't qualify for the study because he would have to go through traditional chemo first to qualify for the study. The problem is, in the research that we've done, traditional chemo will speed the progression of his disease. So we are stuck right now. We're stuck. We have no cure. However, when I heard Dan's story, when I first started talking with Team in Training, Dan said something that I will never, ever forget. He said, the treatment that saved my life wasn't available when I was diagnosed. So the treatment that will save his life or anyone else's life with a 17p deletion hasn't been found yet. And it only comes by people like you raising some funds so that he gets a chance to live. We have been married, it'll be 32 years in April. And I'm sorry, 32 is not enough. So thank you guys for what you're doing. We're counting on you.
Thank you so much, Randall. Thank you. So today we're just hearing from a small handful of folks, and there's some Suzanne Laird, one of our alumni who did the Nike Women's Marathon. She's currently in treatment, started at the beginning of the year, and she was supposed to be here today, and I'm only assuming because of treatment she wasn't able to make it today. But we have a few other folks I'd like to mention as well. You've seen Ellie's hats. We have an alumni in Eastern Idaho who trained with the Flex team named Christy, and her daughter Ellie is currently finishing up treatment. We have the stories, the gal Lindsay, who's still in the hospital, Sherry Jackson, who I shared her story with, who spoke at our potluck last year, is currently doing the ice chemotherapy, preparing for her stem cell transplant. Little Serena, she's in maintenance therapy now, and I'll send out a picture next week. It's great. Her mom just posted a picture with her fuzz growing back on her head. She's just so cute. But I also recognize, I've read your guys' fundraising web pages, and I know that so many of you have also had family members that you've lost, that you have friends, family members who are in treatment. I think Jennifer, who's on the Famous Potato team here, her sister, correct, is in treatment right now. And then on our cycle team, Sam Brown, he hasn't been able to attend very many of the trainings because his wife Audrey is currently trying to recover from a bone marrow transplant and has been trying to recover for, close to 2 years now. She is currently down in Salt Lake. The reason why Sam has missed the last couple of cycle trainings is because they went down there to try and figure out what's going on with